Hi folks. I was contacted by somebody asking, is there any way to handle dealing with setting the F18 throttle in DCS out of the idle position? Now, if you have a cold start in DCS in the F18 and you slide the throttles forward, nothing will happen at all because they're sort of locked into off mode. When you start up in DCS, doing a manual startup, you have to use right control and home and right alt and home to move the throttles in the cockpit forward into the idle position, and from that point forward then you can actually slide your physical throttle forward and backward and the game will respond. Now there is a way of doing this using the Virpil software, and I'll just run through how to do that. So let's load up our trusty Virpil software. This should work in most versions, by the way. Right. So I have two devices. I'm going to select my throttle, click load to pull the config from the throttle into the VPC software. And there you have it. Right. First thing, physically I've just unlocked the throttles so that they can move independently. That's the first thing you need to do before you start playing around with this. Second thing is, if your throttle does not have a mini stick, pay attention to how this section here is set up, because you actually have a detect switch on your throttle, and by default your profile will not be set up like this. So just make sure that you have action button 1, button mode off, source axis 1, destination axis 2, and the DZ you can set to whatever you want. By default it's set to 2. I actually set mine to 0. Once you do that, click save. Save that back to your device. That's for the people who have a Virpil throttle that does not have the little mini stick, analog mini stick on it, because you have a V1 or a V2 then. So just load up and make sure you're getting the config back of it. That's all good. Right, so let's start off. I've explained in some of my other tutorials before how this system here works. Go and watch those videos if you want to understand it. But physical buttons are mapped to logical buttons, and logical buttons is what Windows detects or your games detect, okay? So this binding table here in the button tab shows you this. If you don't have the button tab, press the ready button and it'll toggle this off and on. Okay? I'll actually show you. Right, so let's go through how to do this. First off, axis 2, that's the right throttle. So I'm going to set that one first. So I select axis 2. The to and from range is up to your personal preference, what you want to use. I've played around with this a little bit and I'm going to use 1% to 2%. In the result button, we need to find a button that is free. Now your list is going to be different depending on if you've got POVs and other things set up. But right now, the way mine's set up, the next button I can use is something higher than 65. If you want to cheat, you can go the opposite way around. So we'll start at 128 and work back down. Might be the easiest thing to do. So axis 2, range from 1% to 2%. Give me button 128. Then I go axis 1, 1% to 2%, and give me button 127. So what this basically means is that whenever the software that runs inside the throttle goes between 1 and 2%, then what it's going to do, it's going to trigger a new logical button press. These are, like, for want of a better word, virtual button presses, okay? So if I go over to button tab, you'll now see these new bindings appear in this list, which is great. So I'm going to set button 58, logical button 58, to 128, and click save. 59, go 127, and click save. And now I'm going to save this back to the device. So I'll just reset the stats. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the right throttle a wee drop forward. And there you go, 128 triggers. And then the left, 128 triggers. And it goes off when I move past and move it back to 0 again. So if you look up the VPC Joy Tester, select our throttle. And do the same thing again. You can see button 58 and 59. Okay, so important concept here is the physical buttons is what the microcontroller inside the throttle sees. It then uses this table here to map it to a logical button, and this part of the VPC controller down here that you see, this actually shows you what Windows is seeing. So I'll just close that. Right, now on with the fun. Let's bring up our DCS window. Okay, so we're head spinning around like crazy right now, but let's not freak out over that. Let's go to adjust controls, go to F18, sim, and the easiest way to find this is to use the buttons that are currently bound. So I'm holding down right, shift and home. There we go. That takes us to what we're looking for. So throttle right, idle, and then I go and select my throttle, double click here. And now I just move the right throttle forward a tiny notch. Boop, there she goes. She's picked up Joy button 58. Hit OK. Move that back down. Now I go to the, there we go, left throttle idle. Click on that one. Double click. And then push the left throttle a tiny notch forward. And button 59 goes. Then OK that. So I've moved the throttle back now to the full 0 position on both axes now. Now let's see how that works. Just scroll down here. So if we can see our little throttles here. Now I'm going to push the right one just slightly forward. Oop, there she goes. And now I push the right one all the way back, and you can see that it's now in the idle position and will ignore any more inputs. And even if I push that forward and backward a few times, it's not picking it up. And now I'll do the same with the left throttle because they're both unlocked. And there you go.